Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Fighting Arizona podcast, episode number 380. I'm your host, Jose. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Today's episode is with Earth-Based Body. We are sitting down with Nancy, who's the creator behind it. We had such a wonderful conversation with her. She's incredible to talk to. She was so fun. She even got to come into our studio, which is actually one of our VIP packages, but I'll get into more of that later. I want to just say you can catch every episode of Fighting Arizona podcast at our website, fightingarizonapodcast.com. We make it easy for you guys to sit down with us and join us through all social media at Fighting Arizona Podcast. And if you want to send us an email, let us know who you want in next. That is at fightingarizonapodcast@gmail.com. We have a lot of things going down, but again, let me just jump back into that little bit of business side. We actually now offer a lot of things where if you want to create a podcast, want to be on the show, want to just do a bunch of different things, you just want to advertise with us. You guys have all seen the commercials, heard the commercials that we try and put into every episode. So again, if you want to do any of that, you can send us either an email or connect with us through DMs, but we always try and do everything we possibly can to make your experience with us as special as possible. We want to cater to you guys. We want to make you guys feel like you're number one. We are your cheerleaders for those who want to be part of our little family here. So take a look, see what you want to do, let us know. We will definitely be able to help you out. And if you want to start your own podcast, we could also help you out do that as well. Just let us know and we will contact you back with some information about that part of our services. And that'll be a little bit of the end of our businessy things, but as always, you want to share or stay updated with us, it is through our newsletter and also through our vlog and blog, all of which Brittany does a wonderful job keeping it updated. We actually have been doing a lot of things with the little guy. He is during this holiday month of October. We've done a lot of things such as we've created some sculptures, some monster sculptures. We just finished going over to a flower shop and they had a little trick-or-treat set up. It's really great. A lot of princesses, a lot of Spider-Man, and just dressing up and enjoying the time that we have with him as he's wanting to do more Halloween-y things. This year, if you want to know, I'll keep you guys just in tune with us. So this year we're going to be dressing up as Blue's Clues. I will be Blue. My son will be Josh, who is the new Steve, for those of you who watch their original. And then Britt will actually be Magenta. So we're all doing our, have our little characters, and we're excited to dress up and do that. But if you guys have something that you want to share with us, please share with us. DM us, send us things that you want to share with us. I'm going to try my best. If you guys do that in these little intros, I'll pop them up right here to my right, and make sure that you guys are getting your little moment in the sun. I always like sharing these types of things, and I will share actually a little bit more as we get a little bit further into the holiday season. We're going to be doing Thanksgiving here with our family in Arizona, and then we'll be going to California to Britt's family to be doing the Christmassy season and back over here for New Year's. So I very much am just trying my best to keep everyone very happy and very much we're enjoying the holiday season, and we hope that you guys will stay tuned with us. Just a little bit about the actual podcast side. We've actually done an episode, and I'm very excited to share this one. It was so cool, and for those of you who know the Ice Den, you'll probably know who's coming in next, who's attached to the Ice Den. So stay tuned to that. We are very excited to share with you a lot more VIP episodes where we get to go in or they come to us, and we do a video program. That is so much fun to do for me because we get the actual sensation of having a dialogue and getting to know each other on a personal face-to-face basis. Don't get me wrong, Zoom has always been kind of this pivot situation where we can actually have more people join the conversation, but I've always loved our episodes where we sit down and chat in person. But that again is taking time away from our family time, and that has now become more of a VIP thing. So that being said, I just want to say thank you to everyone who even tries to come on our show, because it is so much fun to get to know you guys. And I always say I want to try and make a friendship out of it. So please keep coming in. If you have someone who you think would be a great fit, please let us know. We always love having more people come in the show. And that being said, we'll jump right into this episode number 380 with Earth-Based Body out of Tucson, Arizona. We will see you next time. And as always, kisses, hugs, belly rubs to our four-legged friends. Catch you later.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. As always, we bring in very special guests every week, and today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce you to Nancy here. She is the creator behind Earth-Based Body, as you can see probably here on the table. It is. I'm going to let you tell it what it is because I would do it injustice here, but I'm going to go ahead and let you take the reins, Nancy. Welcome.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me into your beautiful home.
Thank you.
Can't stop looking around and all the things that I want to do in my house. But yes, Earth-Based Body, it's succulent skincare.
Yes.
So we celebrate the desert with all the ingredients that they have. And it's a collection of skincare all about hydration. Mm-hmm. So desert dwellers, yep. It's no joke. So our mission is to banish dry skin. Awesome. And we're able to use desert ingredients that are native, like that are literally in our backyard, from prickly pear cactus to Sonoran lemons and desert aloe, all these things that are like super concentrated and are really the most hydrating ingredients on earth.
Yeah, so I'm a landscape architect by trade during my day job, so to speak. So it's one of those things where it's like, so I grew up around here, and I grew up in just actually on a reservation up north. And for me, you know, my skin was particularly one of those like incidences where it's like I broke out and I had skincare issues. But as I got older, my body got used to the climate, got used to the area. And also it's just, I started taking better care of it too, as well. Sure. And I think in particular, the more of you using products and, you know, things around where you live. I mean, we've all heard too, it's like those of you who have allergies, natural homegrown honey in the area, bees and pollens from around the area, eating a little bit of that helps with that allergies. And so I also believe like using products that are from the area will definitely help you with the climate of the area.
Absolutely. I am a native of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like a little bit of a cliche.
No, it's totally fine. We've heard the story more than once, but I will never, ever say it's a cliche. Yes. I love hearing these stories.
Sure. So, I mean, it's just a different climate, but the winter and fall in Chicago is super drying. And coming here and living the first few years, it's like, it was amazing how much my skin and hair and nails all changed and like adapted.
Yeah.
And you're right, like using these ingredients are a total game changer for us. And it's also like they're all natural products. Yeah. So that's always going to be better. We actually I started my journey when a friend of mine from high school was diagnosed with melanoma a second time. No. So over glasses of wine and being mad and like all those things, it's like, okay, let's change this and start to feel empowered. Like, what could we do?
Yeah.
So through education and through offering something that is pure to your skin, like it was the coolest thing I've ever done to be able to take action on something like that.
Of course.
And, you know, like 60% of what you put on your skin is absorbed into your system.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put stuff on, like, why not make it awesome, pure, and powerful? Yeah. So that's how I kind of came to this whole thing. And yeah, keeping it, I mean, you know, there's a movement of, you know, farm to table and eat local and drink local. We say slather local.
No, I love that. Right? That's actually really nice.
Oh, you like that? Good.
I do like that.
So yeah, so that's kind of our thing too. Like, it's just magical what is in the backyard and what these plants and minerals and everything have gone through and evolved and are thriving in like this super harsh environment, especially around Tucson where we make everything. And it's like you can have the smallest scraggly looking aloe plant and it could still have like 10 times the nutrients as a giant aloe in another environment, because it just has to be like super efficient and has to, stay small and be able to adapt to all these things. So
Absolutely.
those are the properties of resilience that we try to infuse into everything that we do.
That's so beautiful. And one part, there's a lot of things that we can kind of go and dive into. And one of the things that I find very particularly interesting is how you guys got started, where you're going through this period of almost mourning, but it's like, there's this kind of level of like understanding of we have to move forward.
Right.
I'd love to just get your take of like, after feeling those feelings and going through the emotions of like, okay, and understanding the next step for you, as you kind of came to the understanding of, okay, we want to try and do the skincare line, or just to dive into the skincare realm. What was your first, I guess, step into the business side?
Sure. Well, as all stories go, a straight line. I came from the beverage industry.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like a real hard left turn.
Yeah, real hard.
Yeah. And I come from like a sales and marketing background, and I was telling other people's stories.
Yeah.
And so it was always like this little seed in my head that I wanted to do something and tell my own story and kind of be in charge of it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was never a plan, but yeah, sometimes it is something dramatic that sparks everything.
Yeah.
So in terms of how we got into even be able to make anything, my husband actually was working with our current partner, who is the founder of Craft Beauty Labs, and she's a formulator and has a background in fragrance and is just an encyclopedia of knowledge.
Wow.
And we met together at a spa in Scottsdale and had a lunch.
Yeah.
And by the end of the lunch, I had come up with a name, and we were kind of off and running for what it was, because being able to, again, like use such cool ingredients and deliver something pure was like intoxicating to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't have done it without her, for sure. But I did have a vision for, making products that, something's pink because of the ingredients, not because, we need a pink one or we need a yellow one. So everything just kind of evolved from there. But yeah, it was kind of a thunderclap moment of, like two blondes sitting at a spa is literally what it was. Like the most cliche thing, but we were like down to business immediately.
Yeah.
So then it was just a series of figuring out what our collection was to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And, we kept comparing, like, what does Bath and Body Works do? What does the Body Shop do? And we're like, who cares? Like, these aren't flavors. They're not, supposed to be whatever. They're made with a purpose. So we did go in very intentionally, like, oh, we're going to use prickly pear because it's full of antioxidants, because it's local, because, there is such a rationale behind like every single product. And sometimes it feels like maybe it's not connected, but it is, because it's all serving the same purpose. And it's just little tweaks of what your skincare concerns are.
Okay.
So that was a long answer to
the
first step.
I love that.
But yeah, it was just a little, trial and error, and how can we make this better, or what can we take out? So that's kind of definitely our approach to the whole thing.
I love that, because again, you really wanted to partake in that realm of like, look, we're going to curate these products so that people understand that they are meant for something, but they're also kind of this local flavor of what their meaning is behind them.
Absolutely.
And so that is definitely one of those aspects that I truly can appreciate, and really feel like these products are meant for someone who lives here. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They give you that sense of like, I live here, and I want something that'll take care of my skin that is of here.
Yeah.
So I think that you guys went and did it about it the best way possible, is enjoy yourselves while you're in the process of making it. And so there's a joy and love that's behind these products that I can definitely appreciate. And so
Cool.
let me ask you this, because we're now like moving into this level of like, okay, you were one part of food and beverage realm, and now you're moving into this next part of your life and journey and stage. What was it like telling, yourself and your family members, like, what
Yeah.
was that conversation like, to say, hey, look, I'm going to do this completely different aspect of what I was doing before?
Right. Luckily, I have a super supportive husband,
Awesome.
and he is a great balance to what I do. He comes from the sourcing side of things, so
Yeah.
finding the packaging and stuff, I had no idea what that was like. So I got to lean on him quite a bit. My mom's answer always is, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, I mean, that's a mom answer. Like
Yes.
any, I think a lot of moms would end up kind of at the end of the day going down that
Yeah.
route.
It's a lot of, "Are you sure?" Like, okay. So luckily we built up some trust where it wasn't like that dramatic. But yeah, it was a little bit of ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
And like diving into like one of the most competitive industries out there
absolutely. We've heard
was,
that story too, in
yeah.
particular with we've had a handful of like personal care products
Okay.
come through our doors, but again, that's the one thing that stands out, which is like, it's a tough market. It's definitely competitive.
It absolutely is. But yeah, I think it really helped everyone else like let go of whatever they were feeling, knowing it was like, we're trying to help, we're serving a purpose. This is not just, creating something, a widget,
Yeah.
and hoping it goes viral or something. It's like, no, this feels right. um I am My passion is like original art, like
Yeah.
collecting. So I have slowly taken us to where we're able to do a collaboration. So I think, back to your question, it's like, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna do it your way." Like, I'll watch. I'll see what happens. Is kind of the
Yeah,
feeling behind it all, and I
absolutely.
think that's still the feeling behind it all, and it's fine because it almost makes you. It does. It makes you more resolute in what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
the haters of it all, but
No, again, I started this back in 2015, and so podcasts then were
yes,
barely noticeable and very like,
trailblazer.
yeah. So it's just one of those aspects of life where you're just like, you're always going to question yourself when you start something new. It's about wanting to step away from the voices, the negative, and just allow yourself to really dive deep into the positive aspects of it. Of like, oh, for me in particular, it's the fact that at the end of every episode or something like that, I'll get a story of like, hey, someone bought something because of the show,
Oh,
or like, hey, I love the way it turned out. It made me really reflect on my journey and, whatever that may be. But it's like, that's the kind of things that I take away and,
for
and
sure.
really focus on, because that makes me feel like I'm doing something right. Right.
You're clearly doing a lot of things right.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, continue on. But yeah, it's, gosh, I think about, taking me back to the beginning. It's like, I think I just jumped,
Yeah.
and
Why
it's
not? I
like,
mean,
I have enough skills. Like I can figure out some stuff, and I know I'm smart enough to know what I don't know and
yeah.
ask for help. So
Absolutely. And it's one part like, okay, so you have this traumatic moment, and for a lot of people it would just deteriorate their motivations to do something like this, where it's like, oh, it's too scary to dive into something new. But for you, it's like, again, like, ignorance is bliss.
right.
I'm going to really try and help my friend feel better through this process of making something new. And you did the right thing. I honestly do, because in that moment of like tragedy, you found the silver lining.
Right.
And that is something that I always tell people, always try your best to find that silver lining, is that is going to progress into motivating you and motivating the people around you and motivating what you believe in most of all, and it allows you for positivity to flourish from that
Yeah.
negative. And Yeah, I think you did the right thing, because this
Thank
is
you.
something very special. And let's get into a little bit of like the actual business and what you guys
For
provide.
sure. Well, first, I want to like, I love how you just framed that up. And back to that moment, it's like, no, what she's going through is hard.
Yeah.
Like this, like, come on.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
I mean, comparatively,
Yes.
in all honesty,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
think it did take a lot of the fear out of it.
There you
Because it's
go.
like, if
It's
she
like,
can,
if she can handle this, I can
exactly,
definitely handle
without a doubt.
doing something new, like
Yes.
taking the risk and
Yes.
diving deep.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just
No,
want
no. I think it's very much adamant. Like, it's all part of the journey. It's like
Yeah.
you think about it, and we kind of dive into these moments of like, yeah, like I started this from a tragedy, but it now comparative, like it focused your will and your, you know, your mind and everything in between to just really want to like provide this product.
Right.
And so now we have business,
Yeah.
like more than one product.
Yes.
But it's like, I'd love to get into it and just kind of ask,
Sure.
it's like, what were the first ones like, and what we have versus what we have now? It's like, give us kind of that timeline of the actual products.
Sure. I mean, when we started, it was duct tape and dreams.
Yeah. Why
to
not?
like
Yeah.
make it happen. So again, with my husband's help, it was a lot of what packaging is available, like how can we make this as an intentional choice as the ingredients and the products themselves. So we did start with some, you know, stock packaging, and our intention was to focus on the product itself. So we kept everything, you know, clear or natural is what they call it, a little filmy on it. Yeah. But we wanted to show the, you know, like what was inside. Like, yeah, there's little bits of prickly pear cactus. There's some, you could see bits of blue-green algae, and like really make that a point. With natural ingredients, we learned that there is a ton of variation. So you could have prickly pear juice from one batch to the next, and it could be like 50% different. Yep. And yeah, so that was a good learning experience.
It's definitely something that you have to keep in mind in hindsight for, because with these, like you said, it's your natural ingredients. Their growth habits are different. They're plants.
Right. So the intensity of the color, and, you know, it's still the same function, but just it looks different. Yeah. So we had to address that. So we've evolved into using sugarcane ecotubes. Oh. So that was one thing. And like Earthbody in general, like we're all about make the next best choice that's available to you, because we can't be perfect, but we're going to try, and we're going to keep getting better. Yeah. So the ecotubes was a big thing. We do use like soy ink, and that's awesome. You know, just like every choice we get that's available to us is there. Obviously during COVID and everything, the supply chain, that pesky supply chain, really messed us up.
Oh man, that is, in all honesty, we've had these conversations with a lot of business owners and local entrepreneurs about what happened to them during the pandemic. And everyone was affected on a different scale, but mostly what we've heard through the grapevine is supply chain. Yes. And that was a big factor throughout everyone's process.
Without a doubt.
And having to kind of pivot and learn from that. But yeah, look, continue on, because I would love to hear more about how it affected you, what kind of things that you pivoted towards because of it.
Sure. For a while we did, and really what started that transparent packaging desire is we had a bunch of bath soaks. And during COVID, the prices of ingredients and the package itself more than tripled. Yeah. So we had to make the decision to kind of phase that out or put it on pause. That's how I think about it, because I love every one of them so much that I never want to get rid of anything. But that was just one thing. I'm like, it's not sustainable for us. Like, it was to a point where we were pretty much losing money every time we sold one. So that's, like I said, not sustainable. But by changing over to the ecotubes, we were able to change our whole packaging, or the labels themselves. Okay. So we've been collaborating with one of our real customers. Her name's Christine Arcus.
Nice.
She's a watercolor artist.
Aww.
So she has painted paintings based on or inspired by our ingredients.
Yeah.
And so that's what we use as our labels now.
That's so cool.
Yes. So it makes me so happy because unless you count like tap dancing, I have no artistic talent. So
you are so much like my wife. She is, well, in the sense that like you have such a particular set of skills that it's like there's
dancing number one,
dancing, and then there's because I've taught her some editing stuff like video editing and things like that, but it's like you'd never taking a look at her, you'd be like, she tap dances? Oh yeah, she tap dances. And our son is in tap dancing classes now.
I highly recommend it.
Yes, it's a good skill to learn. It's a good skill to pick up.
You just never know when you're going to be a song and dance guy. So
yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean, he's the bee's knees over at that school because he's just one of very few boys, and so he gets a lot of attention, and he enjoys it. And I, as long as he's enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. I go with him every so often to watch, and it's a fun skill to learn.
It really is. Yeah, I don't play any instruments either. So again, closest thing. Like I bank everything on tap dance. That's my special skill.
Oh my goodness, that's so hilarious.
But yeah, so that was a super positive way we pivoted out of having to change packaging. So I'm like, oh, so now I could put artwork. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Let me add up. And we have just an awesome graphic designer / website, all in one tech support and number one cheerleader named Angela. So
shout out Angela.
Yeah, shout out Angela. She's here right now, actually. Not literally. Sorry, it's Halloween. Yeah, so we were able to really make it a positive change in terms of making it more sustainable packaging. Mm-hmm. And we get to celebrate art.
That's awesome.
So it's
a local artist too, like a local watercolor person who's like, again, I imagine like, so we're big art people in this household, and excellent. We just celebrated our 4th year anniversary yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And so the tradition that we have, for at least my side of the tradition, is basically as a gift every year for our anniversary, I get a Jake Early, who's an artist here, a local artist here, and he does screen printing. And
oh, cool!
How I started this podcast was screen printing T-shirts for owners and business owners.
Very cool.
And so I have a very fond love of screen printing as a style and as a technique.
Harder than it looks.
It is
sure.
Very hard. And so we've had 4 Jake Earlys, and the funny thing is it started out because one part the screen printing, but the other part was the first one I bought was an agave, which is kind of the theme of our wedding. And so that was the 1st year anniversary. And it's kind of sprouted into different, he's done different screen printing pictures. So he had a set that was like based in Italy. She's from her background is her like heritage is a little bit of Italy, and so we got one for there. And then this last year was it's a sunrise, but it's very colorful, very cool. Like stylized sunrise. And that was because Little Man was with me to pick out the actual gift, and he was like, that one, rainbow. So I was like, I can't say no to him. He's right. Like, he sees something, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll go get that for him. And he loves every time we go shopping together. He's like, we go shopping. Can I get a tissue? I'm going to cut this part out, but
I know, I'm just like, you're making me tear up.
Oh, thank you. It's mostly because my nose is running right now and I need a tissue, but I appreciate it. This is, I like to think it's a beautiful story. Thank you so much, love.
Beautiful story. I'm crying.
But yeah, he went shopping with us, and that was fun. And I love taking him shopping.
Aww.
Okay. Back into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the packaging, and we were talking about how you've chosen to go with the stylized art and changing up your methods. And this is coming from the pandemic being a big part and reason behind that. Now, I would love to ask a little bit more about like the day-to-day processes between packaging and filling up the products, and how many products do you have now in the line, and just kind of like all that method?
Sure. I was told there'd be no math today.
No,
but,
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, we have 4 different body creams. We've got 3 different lippies, and then we have a hand cream and a universal body balm.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and then we did the mini versions, which I brought with today.
Thank you again.
So of course. And so those are like, trial and travel and gifting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we went with that. But it's the same product, just a smaller size. Yeah. So definitely our body creams are kind of the foundation of it all.
Mm-hmm.
We started with Cactus Crush, which is the prickly pear cactus with hyaluronic acid, desert aloe, B5. So that's turned into our #1 bestseller by far. And that was the first one we changed because it was just a clear white label. And we changed it so it's like a nice little magenta so everybody can read it. So yeah, that was the foundation. And then ironically, we launched the lippies spring of 2020.
Okay.
So that sucked because it was a lot of masks and no real need for. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now I'm like realizing what you meant by it's launching. Yep. This is like not an unnecessary, but a byproduct of like being a face mask. You wouldn't need a
there wasn't a whole lot of need for it, but it has grown into a really cool category for us. Mm-hmm. And even on the other side of the pandemic, it was like, okay, if you're getting on a Zoom call, it's like we've got 2 different tinted balms.
Yeah.
So it's like if you just needed a little something polish, like we're here for you. My favorite thing any of our clients has ever said is, "Oh, it looks like I tried." I was like, perfect. We got you. I see you. It's all happening.
It's a different strategy when it comes to your marketing where it's like, hey, look, instead of you being out and about, it's you getting, you're trying for a Zoom call.
Yes. So we've got that. And then our Rose Glow hand cream has like rose water that naturally softens your skin.
Nice.
It also has some like light reflectors in it. So I call it a little smoke and mirror show.
I love that.
But that's turned into our #1, like a stocking stuffer or just such an easy gift for anybody in your life. And then our succulent stick or the succulent stick. It's a universal body balm. So literally from anywhere from, cracked heels to, cuticles and knuckles to flyaway hair to, post wax, post tattoo, like anywhere that there could be like some kind of chafe going on.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of our newest product.
I love that.
Yeah.
How does your friend feel about like this stuff now?
She's pumped, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. She's a fan, especially of the Rose Glow. That hand cream is her favorite. But she's also like super fair skinned and again, like Chicago's a different kind of dry, but it's still dry. Yeah. So the moisturization of it all.
It's a win.
It's a win. Yes. It's like it's not I don't know. It's a muggy heat, but it's still. But then, those fall and winter months, like really anywhere. If it's an alpine desert, if it's the Sonoran Desert, if it's anywhere, like we all have to adjust, and your skin does. So,
as you've kind of progressed along in the actual different kinds of products that you guys provided, has there been a challenge in like finding certain products, like certain plants and things that go into it, like that correlate, so to speak?
Sure.
Because I imagine that the aloes can do so much for certain kind of products, but then you go into try and do things like jojoba,
right?
Other like I think in the alpine regions you could probably do a type of like what are they called? The trees, I'm thinking of kind of like the pinon trees or things that. But just different plants for different products.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, at some point it was hard to find anything just because we're competing with the big guys.
Yeah.
And our suppliers could have some, but it's almost exclusively taken already. And so, relationships are always really important to us in general, but the relationships with the suppliers,
Mhm.
like, how about just one leaf, put it in my hand. It's like, that's what it feels like, you know?
Yep.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but we know that our relationships are strong, so we're able to get as much as is
Mhm.
out there. But yeah, like jojoba and aloe are in all of our products.
Mhm.
So those are like real important.
Yeah,
So
it's very
we
important.
we haven't had as much struggle with that. It was more just the premium price
Mhm.
that we would pay
Yeah.
to get it. So, you know, at some point it's like you got to ride that wave
Yeah.
and just hopefully on the other side of things, everything will, you know, calm down or even out or things like that. But also using like as local products or local ingredients as possible.
Mhm.
Like our prickly pear juice comes from Arizona Cactus Farm, which is like down the street from
Yeah.
where we produce.
Nice.
So being able to have the local relationships is is always will be a game changer of just like,
Absolutely.
hey, I'll come pick it up. Like,
Yeah,
what can
like
we
I'll literally
do?
be there.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
whatever you need from me, I will make happen. And
Yeah.
that's another thing that I would love to just ask really quickly is just kind of what we've asked a lot of our guests is kind of like, what have you learned most from living here, as like, you know, one part networking, like
Yeah.
that aspect, but it's like, you know, what's the greatest lesson learned from being an Arizona resident?
Wow, that's a big one. I mean, for me, it's you can't escape the weather. So
Yeah.
that's been the biggest one of like, oh, this is getting easier.
Mhm.
This summer was really rough, but I'm tolerating things better or adjusting. So I think just that part of it is kind of amazing how we can adjust to different
Mhm.
environments.
Yeah.
But also like, you know, being based out of Tucson, everything's made there, it ships from there. You know, people really appreciate that the
Yeah.
business is here and it's
Yeah.
not like, you know, the finished product's not shipped from somewhere else. So that's been really cool, just knowing that people appreciate it, they celebrate it,
Mhm.
and have been so incredibly supportive here as well as Tucson. You know, like anywhere we go to a pop-up or
Yeah.
a market, it's
Well, that's
been
like,
really awesome.
I think that's one of the greatest aspects, or kind of what we provide as an Arizona, I want to say, community, because one of the big things that I've learned doing this is that this community overall is wanting to provide, you know, help one another rather than
For sure.
compete with one another. Whereas you
Yes.
get in certain larger cities bigger than us, it's like, you know, there's a lot more competition than
Mhm.
there is community reach and community based like understanding. So that's one of the cool things about Arizona, or even kind of the valley in general. It's like, it's such a melting pot that it is really, there's a lot of people who were like, look, you know, there's enough space for all of us. There's why compete? Like, why
Yeah.
put in bad relationships than want to just help one another?
Absolutely. And also the level of talent and diversity of talent, I'm still blown away every time I'm, you know, a part of any kind of event like that. And it is super supportive. I've had really cool collaborations and have more planned for early next year with,
That's awesome.
you know, jewelry designers.
That's
and
awesome.
just, I
Well, you
mean,
were,
these,
so
yeah,
I
I
was
know,
just
I'm
about
like,
to comment. I'm like, those look familiar.
it's turning into a habit, but I have been known to walk away with 2 to 3 new pairs from different people. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I'm just obsessed and I don't understand how people do it, and
Mhm.
the artistic skill of it all. We've established that I have none, but I want to celebrate it too. And it's like, I love being like, oh yeah, these are from Luna and Saya, or these are from, you know,
Aw.
anybody else. That makes me happy to be
That's-
able to.
That's how I feel about
Preach.
like, you know, you can take a look around some of the house, and there's like, there's definitely products from local people that you could definitely like point out and be like, oh, feel like I've seen that before. Oh, I think I know where that comes from. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, it's one part, like, it's guests who've been on the show that we really, really
Yeah.
enjoy their products and love being their friends, one part, but also their customers, another part. And so we definitely have like, I think my sign was built by a local guy and it's in the other
Cool.
room,
Oh,
but it's
cool.
like meeting him was like fantastic because he and I kicked off one part like our friendship, but another part's like, look, anytime I need something creative that is going to be like a sign or something like that he has a skill set for, I'm gonna get him on board for it.
Wow,
So,
that's so awesome.
yeah, continuing those relationships,
Yeah,
right?
it just makes everything so much richer. And you're like,
Yeah. It's got a story behind it,
yeah.
right?
I do have to say, your white walls, I'm like, I want to put stuff on them.
Oh,
immediately.
we intend to. This used to have more paintings like in
Yeah.
this room, and that's this is us like slowly transition. Like we're still in the
Yeah.
mid. They're all hidden away in the back
Okay,
in one of the rooms, but we're intending to fill this up with more paintings and more like. That was just done. If you take a look in the office,
cool.
that's a whole city map of Phoenix. That my
That's
dad, the
dope.
story behind that, my dad is a big auctioneer. Like
Oh,
he
yeah?
likes to go to auctions,
Cool.
and one of the boxes that he randomly gets every so often, because it's like bundles of
Yeah.
stuff that people will sell. There were surveyor maps, and these surveyor maps are these photos from airplanes, and he gave them to me. He's like, "You're a landscape architect. Here you go."
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, this would make for a really cool wall. And like, because they're just giant, well put together photos. And I've seen it done at the Kids Museum.
Oh, okay.
Or one of the museums. I think the Arizona Science Center.
Okay.
And I was like, this would be cool to have in my house, like in one of the walls in my house. And so we finally, like, I put 2 and 2 together, and Britt helped me cut them out and then stick them with Hodgepodge glue. And
impressive.
It turned out really well. I love
really
it.
Cool. I thought you turned it into wallpaper. So
it's technically wallpaper, but it's the one part like, it's they were photos clipped together and stitched together, and yeah, it turned out really well as an art project. But yeah,
I feel like that's a personal challenge to myself.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Top that.
Yeah. Oh wow. I don't intend to be a challenger of people, but it's like we do creative things like this so that we can feel like I was getting a little because I work out of that office too for my job, and I'm like getting a little stir crazy. I'm like, I like to be creative, so it's like we every so often we'll change up the room and either throw on some color or throw something up that's like helping us to be creative.
Love it.
But yeah, it's like again we intend this home to be a eclectic, put together piece of like friends, family, guests who come on the show of like their stuff, and like people come in this household and feel like it's a part of the valley or part of the Arizona feeling. Because I love growing up here. I love being a part of this community, and it's one part of like the reason why I kept going is because I want to help people get their voices out, and it's how I grew up. It's only fair to get your chance to tell your story.
There you go.
So that's a real big part of this. And as we're coming to the conclusion of our conversation, we're reaching the end here, and I'd always leave the end kind of like a goal setting opportunity of like, give us some goals that you intend to have for the business, or maybe in a big event that you want people to show up at, and we can help have the listeners be the helpful hand to your dreams. Sure.
Yeah, we're still waiting to hear back from a couple local events, like the Festivus is one. Yeah. So we want to do that.
That's a big one.
We are doing some stuff in Tucson at the Tucson Art Museum in November, which will be really cool. And then their 4th Avenue Festival. Yeah. I'm a little nervous, but I'm super excited with a ton of people. So
I think that'll be just right for you guys. Yes. That's right up your alley.
I feel like it too. So I'm super excited about those. Otherwise we're working on pitching a national retailer.
That's going to be fun.
So that would be really
Fingers
cool.
Crossed.
I know.
Crossed.
I'm like, I'll tell you later.
Yes.
So that's probably our biggest thing. And then we're just heading towards holidays, and
yeah, that's a big part of the year.
Yeah, it's huge. And our stuff is really giftable. So, we came out with a new gift set that'll be launching in about 10 days, but you get a
Ooh.
little exclusive access to
Nice.
it.
I'm super excited.
Yes. So we feel like that's a really great gift. And then, our big sale of the year is on what we call Pink Friday,
Okay.
which is the Friday before Black Friday.
Got it.
It's all about spending money with small businesses first
Mhm.
and then kind of coming back to it. So that's kind of what we're building towards.
I love that because
Yeah.
again, there's one aspect of like that. There's that local support Saturday or something like that.
Yeah,
Local
Small Business Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Small Business Saturday, and it's like you guys are taking the reins or the idea and making it your own of like Pink Saturday or Pink
Yeah.
Friday, and so I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like shop small first.
Exactly. And so we always kind of leave the last part of our episode of like you telling everyone where they can find you online, all your social media handles.
Absolutely.
So take it away. The floor is yours.
Sure. You could find us. Earthbasedbody.com has everything. We will be launching some merch in the next couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
Our Instagram, Facebook is both Earth-Based Body. So we kind of keep it real easy that way.
Awesome. And then we do have a little outro for ourselves. You can hear every episode of Finding Arizona Podcast at our website, findingarizonapodcast.com. We're available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube as well. And if you want to send us an email, that's findingarizonapodcast@gmail.com. And all social media handles are Finding Arizona Podcast. Let us know who you wanted next, and we will try and make that happen. And as always, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. We will see you next time. Bye.